Welcome back to another Throne and Liberty guide. I'm Dumbs, and in today's video, we're diving into the Haunted Harvest Halloween event. This event introduces a couple of exciting features, so let's jump right into it. First, let's talk about candy corn, the core currency of the Haunted Harvest event. You'll receive it as a daily login bonus, and if you miss a day, don't worry. The event grants you 5 chances to claim missed candy corn from previous logins, giving you some flexibility to keep up with the event. This candy corn is your ticket into the event's co-op dungeon, the Haunted Labyrinth. Each entry, and to open the final chest, requires you to devour 1 candy corn. Doing so gives you a chance to receive various rewards, one of which is an especially useful material: Dimension Pumpkins. Now, let's meet the 2 new NPCs introduced for the event. The first is the Haunted Harvest Peddler, who wanders around town and offers essential items for the Haunted Harvest event. You can buy a limited number of Dimension Pumpkins, chocolate, and candy corn from him each day. The second NPC is the Dimension Pumpkin Exchange Merchant. This merchant allows you to trade in Dimension Pumpkins for special Halloween rewards, making it a key stop for gathering event-exclusive items. To quickly locate these NPCs, head over to Vienta. Near the crafters, you'll find the Dimension Pumpkin Exchange Merchant, while the Haunted Harvest Peddler typically roams a bit further north, closer to the plaza. Now, let's talk about how the Haunted Harvest event affects the villages. Trick-or-treating in the villages is a core part of the Haunted Harvest experience. During the night, keep an eye out for NPCs dressed in unique Halloween costumes. You'll see an Interact button, but you can only engage with them once night falls. When night comes, start looking for 3 of these costumed NPCs. Interact with the first one, and you'll receive a 2-minute buff that starts a timer. This buff gives you 2 minutes to locate the next NPC. After you find and interact with the second one, you'll get another 2-minute timer to find the final NPC. If you successfully locate and interact with all 3 NPCs within the time limit, you'll receive the Phantom's Prank buff, which lasts for 30 minutes and provides a bonus to both experience gain and solent gain. Make sure to find all 3 costumed characters each night to enjoy this valuable buff. The Haunted Harvest event brings fresh and unexpected changes to Silicium, adding new opportunities and surprises. For starters, you can now catch event-only fish throughout Silicium that provide various 15-minute buffs. These include the gummy fish, with red, yellow, and blue varieties, and the pumpkin taffy. In addition to fishing, you also have 2 new recipes to cook. Using Dimension Pumpkins, you can create the spooky pumpkin pie, and with chocolate purchased from the Peddler, you can make the Choco Spider Cookie. These special treats provide useful buffs to enhance your gameplay during the event. Okay, now that we've covered the essentials, let's jump straight into the event's co-op dungeon, the Haunted Labyrinth, for a quick walkthrough. As soon as you spawn in the dungeon, your first task is to sprint up the stairs. Once you reach the upper room, your objective is to find the hidden key by interacting with the pumpkins scattered around the area. Don't worry about the ads, just ignore them and focus on the pumpkins to locate the key. Once a party member finds it, head to the door, unlock it, and keep ignoring the ads. As soon as the door opens, sprint to the pumpkin wagon. Just a heads up, these doors have timers on them. If the timer expires, someone will need to reopen the door to keep progressing. Once the wagon stops, you'll have 2 main objectives. Unlock the door and fetch 3 pumpkins to power up the wagon. This part is pretty straightforward, but be prepared for a few challenges. Inside the room, you'll encounter enemies that can stun you while you're picking up a pumpkin. Plus, if you're holding a pumpkin and take damage, you'll drop it. So be ready to fight off enemies or move carefully to keep hold of the pumpkins and progress through the dungeon. Once you land, your new objective is to kill 5 pumpkin watchmen. Focus on taking them down quickly, as defeating them will trigger the next phase. Once all 5 are dead, the pumpkin watch captain will spawn, marking the next challenge in the dungeon. This mini-boss, the pumpkin watch captain, has a couple of mechanics to watch out for. Around the arena, you'll notice several crosses. Take note of these, as they're essential for this fight. When the watch captain shouts, "Careful, don't lose your ground," several pumpkins will spawn above some players' heads, marking them with a red AoE on the ground. Players who have the pumpkin heads need to move to the crosses quickly, while the other players should stay out of the red AoEs to avoid taking damage. Another mechanic to watch out for is when the watch captain shouts, "Pumpkin incoming." This will spawn a single pumpkin in the arena, and the captain will follow up with a cone AoE attack directed toward that pumpkin. Make sure to stay out of the cone's path to avoid taking damage. Once this mini-boss is dealt with, it's time to proceed to the corridor minigame. Upon entering the corridor, you'll be transformed into a pumpkin. Your objective here is to avoid the giant evil pumpkins moving through the corridor. Stay on the ledges to keep out of their path, and be cautious of the shocks along the way, as they will stun you if you're hit. If an evil pumpkin catches up to you, it's game over for that run. However, if at least one party member makes it through, the others can let themselves be defeated to respawn next to the final boss. Okay, we've made it to the final boss, Lord Embergourd. Let's go through his attacks so you know what to expect. One of his main moves is a pull where he drags everyone towards him. Right after this, he'll spawn an AoE around himself. You need to quickly run outside of it to avoid damage. Following this, he'll spawn another AoE in a different pattern, so you'll either need to dodge out or dodge in to find the safe zone. Next up is his Fury attack. If you see a purple indicator on the screen, make sure to block immediately. And if you hear him say, "Trick," or "Be eaten," he'll unleash a series of lined fire attacks. Make sure to stay out of their path and avoid getting caught in them to dodge the damage. Moving on to the third mechanic. If you hear the boss say, "I'll teach you a lesson," he will cover himself in a shield. 3 red AoEs will appear on the ground. Avoid these, as 3 lamps will fall at those locations. Your goal is to hit these lamps and aim them toward the boss. If all 3 lamps detonate near him, the explosion will interrupt his Fury attack, stun him, and remove his shield. Next up, we have the pumpkin wall mechanic. A wall of evil pumpkins will form and start approaching you. Some of these pumpkins will be highlighted, meaning you can run into them. Doing so will transform you into a pumpkin, which is essential to survive Lord Embergourd's next attack. It's important that all players catch a highlighted pumpkin to transform. If you're hit by an evil pumpkin while not transformed, it will knock you back, making you vulnerable to his upcoming attack. Make sure everyone grabs a pumpkin to stay safe. In one of the final phases of the fight, Lord Embergourd transforms the entire party into insects. During this phase, he'll periodically release a large AoE attack. To dodge it, press one on your keyboard, which will make your insect land and avoid the attack. Be careful though. Watch out for the bats flying around, as they can make dodging more challenging. Stay alert and time your landings carefully to survive this phase. Alright, now that we've covered all the phases and mechanics of the fight, let's jump straight in and put it all into action. Get ready for an epic showdown with Lord Embergourd. That wraps up our guide to the Haunted Harvest event. I hope this walkthrough helps you make the most of the spooky season in Throne and Liberty. From collecting candy corn and conquering the haunted labyrinth, to tackling Lord Embergourd himself, there's a ton of fun to be had. Thanks for watching, and if you found this guide helpful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell for more Throne and Liberty content. Good luck out there, and have a hauntingly good time. Until next time, stay spooky.